Tonight, Cade's new job.
Video.
Gordon remembers his name.
Gordon.
And I get attacked with CO2.
Hey everybody, welcome to Mission Control for a nice little Friday live stream with Gordon and Sam. Are you guys there? Can y'all hear them?
Hello, Gordon.
Hello, Gordon.
Let me know in the comments if you guys can or cannot hear them, or hopefully you can hear me too for that matter. You should be able to though. So we're just doing a nice little Friday live stream. It's a nice day here in Denver. How are you guys out there?
I am drizzly, but that's because I live in Wales.
It's not specific to you living in Wales. Don't blame Wales. You're just dribbly in general.
Especially on a Friday night.
Yes. Damien asks, is that the Top Gear intro? It's our version of it. Yes. We call it
is.
Top Avo Gear. I don't know.
See, we differ from Top Gear because we've got all of the gear and we've got the idea.
Yes, exactly.
We are ambitious and occasionally successful.
Yes.
We don't
Very
need
occasionally.
all of the power because we've got it already. Like, we're all good.
For the time being.
Oh, golly gee willikers. So, as usual on these live streams, it is your guys' questions. So bring them on. How is grading the contest coming there, Gordon? Do you know?
I have no part in the judging. I am merely the voice behind the idea that has been bandied around, and everything that got posted on social media has now been given to the judging panel, and I am in as much anticipation until Tuesday night as everybody else to find out who wins, because I've seen a lot of them and I'm kind of curious.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, there's 3 members of full-time staff. There's 4 very experienced LDs that have volunteered to watch every single one of them and vote and rank them, and all I had to do was explain the rules, which is it's nice and easy for me, and it's going to be cool to see what people have come up with.
You got the easy job.
Yeah, quite.
And that makes 1.
Yeah, it looked like it was going to be a lot of work to judge that just from seeing some of the intros or some of the videos that have been hit up on the Facebook group there. We were quite flooded with them.
There were some really great entries from the ones that I saw. So congratulations to everyone who went at it, because there were some smashing ones that I had to look at.
Yeah.
And there were some people who took it literally as the challenge as well. Like, we weren't trying to sell £100,000 worth of stuff. We were trying to go, look, if you're a master of busking, time to try queue lists. And if you're there was one comment that I read on a video which said, have been time coding for the best part of 15 years, did this on the fly, hope it's okay.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to say it's terrible, because that's already impressive. Like, that's already, the lights can do nothing, but if you've been time coding for 15 years and then you're trying to do something on the fly, it's a completely different world.
Totally different ballgame.
Yeah, quite. Yeah. So we're still waiting for some questions. A whole lot of nothing out there.
As always, Neil is sat there with a Friday beer, which is good to see.
I'm even having myself a little cocktail here, because, well, why not? It's Friday. Maybe Friday afternoon, but hey, what can we say? Let's see here. Hey, Randall. Hey, Brian, and Manny. Manny is he owns a company here in Denver called Maniac Productions that I've worked at for 25 years.
You don't look a day over 70.
Exactly. Brian says he has no questions today. Well, you were our crutch last one there, Brian. I think almost all the questions were his. Made for a fun little stream.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we miss you, Brian.
Yes, yes. Did you get it? I know you were talking about upgrading your Avo keys. Did you get those in? We'll see if he when he gets that and answers. The delay makes everything fun with chats and waiting for people when they get to actually hear what we have to say.
Oh, totally. I do like the odd meeting though, when there was a meeting that I had last week, which is 3 countries having a conversation, and it did make what was a fairly normal meeting sound very dramatic, because there was a good couple of seconds in between everybody saying everything, just kind of going, "Yes, let's do this. Come on, people."
Ryan hasn't installed yet. Oh, you're slacking on me, brother. Get him installed. Get updated. Find all the new fun toys since version 10.
New toys is good. New
Yes,
toys is
yes.
always good. It has been great seeing lots of people jumping in and just downloading the simulator since we sort of started doing all these live streams. Like, what was it, 3 months ago now? The amount of new users that I've seen popping up with things has been quite nice to see.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Oh, question.
Yay, a question. Yay. How can I, in a cue list, fade the speed of a shape, not the size, only the speed? Ooh.
Go on, boss man.
So I'm trying to think of best ways to do it. I usually handle any shapes, size and speed with just size and speed masters anymore, personally. If you're trying to do it in a queue list so that it fades from one to the other.
You've got the dividers.
Yeah.
And I guess if you're going to slow down to a complete stop, you could do something along those lines.
Yeah. I think if you auto-loaded the 2 different shapes, one at this first speed and the second one at the second speed, they would, and had a fade in time on the second one, it should fade to it, in theory.
Yeah, that would be a solid way.
Totally.
Yeah.
You've got your auto load times as well that you could use.
True.
I'm too much of a theatre boy in that respect. So, like, if I'm ever doing a big old queue list, I'll have my main queues as static and my point queues as like building or putting in effects. So I've kind of, by my growing up programming, I've kind of avoided having to do it in the same queue, because my point 1 would have a fade in of like 2 or 3 seconds, and then my point 2, which would take out some effects and bring in some different effects, would have a fade in time there.
Yeah.
Which is a very nerdy, very button pressy way of doing it. I do apologise if ever anyone was just expecting me to go, haha, you press this button, guys. But that's how I personally do it.
Let's see here.
I'm pretty much with you on that. It's an interesting question. If I'm not running with Speedmasters, then yeah, I will usually be building things between those main queues and sort of slamming stuff in and out, either through the auto loads or through building in those point queues. But like most of the time now, if it's anything, unless it's one of those sort of shows where you are absolutely point to point every single night, I will fiddle around with Speedmasters and have a bit more fun with it.
Yeah. So let's set the legend on this one. That way another difference. All right. So trying to do that. Oh, we need to set a fade in time on this too. Fade in time of 5 because I like 5 seconds. So auto load.
Resisting the urge to make jokes there.
It's my favorite time to use as a fade time. I think it's mainly because it lets people actually see what's going on before they press buttons and look at their capture screen while they're doing in training. So I just got this one at this speed here. I made it basically a copy of the exact same shape with the lower speed in the second queue. I've auto-loaded both, so when we hit go to the second queue, it did not fade. It might be because probably because I don't have the settings set correctly. But we'll put a fade in here on it. I'll just double tap release. I'll hit go and have the first one. Why is there not a fade time there? There we go. Now we hit go. And you can see that it fades in slowly. So it does work like that. Just put the fade in time, auto load it, and put them in like that.
Nice.
If you want to fade between two different shapes, not sure there, Edward. Would you do them with the auto loading? I think the auto load there is going to be the trick, so to speak. So, any other questions out there, folks?
It's very quiet this evening.
It is, unfortunately.
I think they're demanding tales from the road from us. I think is what's happening there.
Oh, those always descend into badness. which isn't always a bad thing, but hey.
We're allowed to be bad sometimes.
Occasionally. Well, then we'll make Gordon go first because he's sitting there quietly in the back.
I'm being so well behaved. What? Give me a genre of story.
One that you can tell, and we'll all still have our jobs tomorrow. How about that?
The time when I time coded my coffee maker, or the time where I made a office chair get taller via DMX control, or
was that when your knees didn't work?
You can get very creative with some little 12-volt relays and a couple of DMX switch packs. That's for sure.
I mean, the internet knows what me left to my own devices with the option to timecode things does to me. So
and that very nice policeman.
Oh yeah. That was a very difficult afternoon of explaining.
Well, you see, what had happened was
I really needed to wake up in the morning, officer.
And I still have that coffee maker. Wait, what?
So this is what it's devolved into.
Well, it is a Friday.
It is a Friday. Everyone's very quiet.
That it is. Some of the dumbest things you've had to do on tour to make the show. I got one for you. So we're doing an outdoor venue down in Florida. I can't remember the name of it right now. But basically the backstage area, it's kind of like a courtyard. So the backstage and the green rooms are in the like on a balcony above the stage. So we had to visqueen the entire balcony, the spiral staircase down to the stairs, so that the artist could get from the dressing room to the stage without anybody seeing them. It was hours of plastic being strung up everywhere.
That's filthy.
Quite. And I won't name the artist to not shame the artist. So, but yeah, it was not very much fun. I mean, not that I did any of it, but the stagehands didn't like it.
Oh, well, in that case. Gordon, I know you have stories like that.
Oh, hundreds. Like, there was it's the infamous story that always seems to end up as memes on various, like, Facebook groups and stuff like that, of things like ladders not being tall enough, so them getting put on forklift trucks, or... Oh. The amount of times that I have... In fact, there was one time where I managed to bunny hop a ladder completely. I would not recommend it, would not try this at home, genuinely, because in retrospect, it was scary. And normally, like, in retrospect, you go, it wasn't that bad, or, it wasn't actually that dangerous. Even in retrospect, it's actually scarier than it was in real life. But I had to make the show happen. I managed to bunny hop a ladder about 15, 20 feet across the stage.
Wow.
Oh.
And that... I shouldn't have done it, and it was not a little ladder. Like, it was not a little set of 5 rungs, and I was too lazy to climb down and move it. Like, it was a decent... I think it was a 12 or a 14 rung set.
Wow.
And the show happened less than a minute late, and there was a good 2,500, 3,000 people sat in the audience, and I was meant to be the full-on white glover, don't touch anything, sit behind the desk, and I'd been sweating on stage for a good 45 minutes trying to get this show up and running, just moving bits of set and indeed lifting a musician who couldn't find their high heels. So,
Oh no. Oh no.
yeah, there's a few good ones. There's a few that I shall take to my grave, but there's a few that you kind of have to go, no, I made that show happen. I played my part in that one. I'm kind of happy about that.
There's a few that I'm imagining health and safety inspectors are glad you're taking to your grave.
Oh, very, very much so. Yeah. And I'm sure I'm not meant to even tell anyone that I bunny hopped a ladder at all, because, it's not a thing. But
Right.
My name's Gordon Clark, and welcome to Jackass.
Well, in my head, the difference is either I might fall 5-10 feet off a ladder and injure myself, or 2,500 people sat in the audience might hurt me. So I think I kind of made the right decision in my mind, anyway.
Yeah.
Everything's better in your mind.
It's one of the go-to things. Like there's often a stigma when they see me teaching a class or doing a tutorial or something like that, where they kind of go, "Oh yeah, but you don't know what it's like on the ground." It's like, yeah, I do, I genuinely do. Like,
right.
You've nearly had almost a slightly too close relationship with the ground.
I have flight case surfed just like the rest of you.
So Brian says when he was out with Guar, seeing venues wrap everything in plastic was fun. Yeah, I've been at a few venues prepping for Guar, and it's Visqueen City, man. And then he also asks, with the Avo key, editor key, Avo key /sim unlocks one universe of ArtNet. Yes. Can I use just about any node to get to that DMX? Yes. If you have an editor key, it does give you one universe of unspoiled DMX that can be used via ArtNet, streaming ACN, or an old Titan 1. And so just about any node, yes. Anything that takes ArtNet or streaming ACN, you're going to be able to spit that one universe out. It doesn't care.
I haven't found anything it doesn't do that with yet.
Yeah. Like I says, can I use like an in-text box? I don't know I don't think it would work over USB, but it should over network, as in streaming ACN or ArtNet. For USB to the in-tech, I don't believe will work. But nope. I've never had one to test. So you say no, Gordon?
No, it won't.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't think it would, but I didn't have one I've never tested, so I always, until I test things, sometimes I don't say for sure, but if you've seen it tested, there you go.
No, there's a few ArtNet NTech nodes that are really tiny and really compact, and like some of them work absolutely flawlessly. But if anybody's shopping around for ArtNet nodes, do a bit of research, because there's one of my friends a couple of months ago spent a fair chunk of money on something that he thought was going to be the world's best ArtNet node, and it was a good, I think it was like 3/4 of a second or a second delay. Ooh. Just inside the node itself, like just testing it out at the yard, pressing locate on a fixture. You could actually go one Mississippi. Now the lights come on.
Ouch.
Yeah.
That's a little rough.
That is.
There's hundreds of them that are so cheap and so good, and he just managed to pick the wrong one, sadly.
Yeah, I've heard the DMX King stuff is supposed to be pretty good, and they're fairly inexpensive, at least on this side of the pond. I don't know how they are for you guys. The Elation stuff's okay. One thing I noticed, at least with the generation that I have, apparently they've put out a new one since then. For the generation of Elation node I have, it doesn't honor streaming ACN priorities. It'll just use whichever one it connects to first, and that's what it uses until you completely unplug the other one.
Yeah, that makes sense though. If it's a couple of years old, because there's 4 different like iterations or existences of streaming ACN, and the first 2, I think, priorities didn't even exist. So.
Yeah. I switched to a Swiss-on currently, and they actually gave it to Group 1 and myself to use on training. And I think I'm going to not let them have it back and have to buy it from them, because I've really taken a liking to it. I'm like, you can't have that back. That's mine now. How much you want for it? It's used. It's used now.
Run away.
It's one of my go-to things that sits in my pelly case, whether I'm training or whether I'm doing anything else. It still sits in my pelly case, my little Swiss on tester.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what Brian. I have an eNode 4 Pro, and they said streaming ACN priority doesn't work on them. At least on the last time I updated the firmware, didn't. I don't know if they've updated it since then, but I also know they've gone to new units with their Onyx stuff, and those have been kind of they don't acknowledge they exist anymore. Basically, they've gone to something new and used that instead. Typical of Elation, unfortunately. Trying to find a dealer for ELC nodes here in the U.S. I don't know who does ELC here in the U.S. either, off the top of my head. Any?
There's an increasing number that do Sundrax nodes out in the US, and they're definitely worth keeping an eye on, because they're one of the Sundrax nodes that came out, I think it's 4 or 5 years ago, that was just a 4-port ArtNet node. They released a firmware update which meant that it could then do ACN or ArtNet.
Nice.
I don't think I've seen a company do before. I think they've, a lot of companies will just kind of go, right, if you're doing ArtNet, you do ArtNet. If you're doing ACN, you do ACN.
Yeah.
But they released a free firmware update if you had this product that just went, oh yeah, here's a new protocol that you can have for nothing. Like,
nice.
Yeah.
The Elation one I have, it'll do streaming ACN or ArtNet, just whatever you feed it, it'll start doing it, and just how we reset its routing internally is how it'll what it'll pay attention to and send to what universe. So you could send, like the 4-node one I've got, you could send ArtNet to 1 and 2 and streaming ACN to 3 and 4. And it didn't care. It would just do whatever you told it to.
There's
Other
like
than priority, unfortunately.
I Amazon Primed one.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I was in a bind, and I was in the middle of nowhere, and I really needed just some form of node, and I ended up Amazon priming that really cheap Chauvet AN2.
Okay.
Like it was like less than £100, including shipping, on some random Prime deal that I found, and that thing was remarkably decent. Like solid metal housing, did both protocols, did priority. Again, like you said, didn't care what went down. It's only 2 universes, but like it got to me within 24 hours, and it saved my show, and it was like $100.
Sometimes that's the best.
Amazon Prime.
Yeah,
Gave in to the corporations.
Yeah, I've heard some people swear by those. I've also seen some people have non-longevity with them, for lack of a better way of saying it. So
that was diplomatic. I like that.
Yes, their longevity can be questionable. Of course, it's the anything out there. You'll find somebody who's probably had one for 10 years and it's never broken. You have a guy that lasted for a week on too. So, it's electronics, and that's the way it goes, unfortunately, sometimes.
Oh, totally. There's one of my friends that's got a QM 500 that he's made into a coffee table, and the QM 500, if memory serves me rightly, was 1988, 1989.
Yeah.
Like, and he said, if I get in a bind, these wooden legs are coming off, and I'm going to use this. I was like, does it still work? Have you not like gutted it to make the coffee table? And he went, no, this is a 300 kilo coffee table. It's like, whoa, okay.
Oh,
nice.
Oh.
But should Y2K hit, he's still got a desk that he can use perfectly fine right there. And in the meantime, he's got a nice bit of living room furniture.
Right. That's what I've always joked about Classic Pearls, that when the apocalypse hits, we'll still run lights with Classic Pearls because you can't kill the dang things. I don't know what lights we're going to use with them, but we'll have a console.
I've got a Classic Pearl Tiger that I've made into a coffee table.
Nice.
It makes me very happy.
And if anyone asks, you can say your coffee table's a tiger. It sounds kind of cool.
Exactly.
Right.
Either that, or they start hating me and think I'm some kind of weird game hunter or something like that.
No comment.
We'll just start calling you Sam Exotic.
Oh no.
Well, you may have bitten that one off now, haven't you?
Oh no, if Andy is in this chat, there's going to be a Photoshop posted somewhere very, very soon.
Oh yes, Andy is very handy for doing that to us. Make it one little joke, and then it's a meme.
Handy, Andy, I like it.
Oh dear. We
See,
still need
normally-
some questions.
Yeah, normally we've had somebody send a message saying, "Make a cool keyframe," or "Can you turn lights on and off by a keyframe," or something like that by now. And we've still got it's dropping, but we've got 10 people watching. So
Oh, just went up
even
to
if
11.
you have got a Titan question in the very back of your head, you've got an excuse to get it answered by 3 people right now, just before I shoot off onto my next little online live session.
Yes, yes. Yeah, we didn't get you for the whole time today, and I thank you for joining us for what time you've had.
I would have loved to be here for the whole time, but
No, you wouldn't.
It seems the questions are at a sensible level where I can entrust them to you two, lovely gentlemen.
So leaving it to the knuckleheads is what you're saying here?
Leaving it to the artistes.
Oh.
Leaving it to the artistes.
The artists.
That was a diplomatic way of saying knuckleheads.
You might find some artiste on its way to you at some point soon.
Yeah.
Just as an aside to Brian's question about ELC, I just went and had a quick look on their distributor page, and in the North American sort of section of their map, they don't actually have a US distributor listed. They have a Canadian one, which is Ericsson Pro in Quebec.
Wonder why they're not coming here. There must be either
I just don't like
reason
you.
for it. No, fair.
It's almost like you work for a distributor, Cade. Maybe you should drop them a line and say hello.
One more product I need to support. Awesome.
And on that note,
He's out of here. He's done.
I mean, I would love to support another product or something.
that's all right, to everyone who's watching and to you two, I shall catch you on the next one. But bug these guys, ask them Titan questions. They're clever people.
Well,
Yes,
some of
yes.
the time.
Well, thank you for joining us, Gordon, and we'll catch you on the next one.
See you on the next one.
So long.
Cheers.
And then there were 2.
And there were, yes. So get in there and ask those questions, folks.
I cannot
here to
believe
answer.
of the 10 or potentially 9 people, because I'm one of them watching
Right.
this, that none of them have anything they want to abuse me with, that they want to abuse you with, that they want to ask. Like, I don't even think any of my ex-trainees are on here to abuse me, and I'm genuinely a little bit saddened by it.
For sure.
Like, come on. If you're gonna throw the abuse, you've literally got a good 10-15 minutes to throw it at me.
I wish Facebook's streaming would let you see who's actually watching. It's kind of a bummer it doesn't let you see a list of like who's there. Or if there is, I haven't figured out how yet. Which is a possibility. I just haven't figured out how.
There is always that.
You never know. Whoops. Not there.
I'm trying to think of some stuff that I saw flag up just during like people dealing with the competition stuff. Like there were some really good entries, and I didn't see tons of questions relating to it. But if there is anyone sort of just watching along with us who did take part, was there anything you encountered as you were going along that was maybe more challenging than you expected, or just something you hadn't encountered before that was new, or something you were like, I'm sure there's another way of doing this?
Yeah. Well, as I pretty much always say with Ava, there's usually 3 ways to do anything. Like you and I were talking about the other day, we're making that limits video, which will probably be released after the stream here. I come up with 2, and I'm like, I know there's a third. What is it? And then we reminded me what the third way was.
I like that. I like the way you even teased that as well. You're becoming a proper influencer.
Oh, it's like I think I've been watching too many other influencers on YouTube.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. Hit that bell and come back later for more videos on Limit.
Exactly.
Oh no.
Oh golly.
It's reached that point of the Friday.
It has. Oh.
Is it us? Are we scaring people off?
I guess so. We're down to 8 now, and one of them would be my iPad and one of them you, so we got 6 out there.
Oh, I feel bad.
Well.
It's just cruel. Either we're like causing people to have a horrible Friday night, or everyone my side of the pond is just like in bed already, waiting to hit the pub at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Right. Well, it's not technically much of a holiday for you guys tomorrow. It is for us on this side. Well, you guys don't really celebrate that day over there. I can't understand why.
I mean, it's a Saturday anyway.
True.
It's like the worst day for a holiday when it's already a holiday, sort of.
Brian, I had questions on Tuesday, but I forgot them all. Well, fair, but type them on the post about the stream next time, and we can just answer them on the stream as we just go through them there and do them to it. So that's easy enough for us to do. It makes
I'm
it
looking
fun.
forward to Brian coming back to England.
Yeah.
I missed Brian when he was last over here. I want to go and say hello next time I see him, or next time he's around.
Yeah. Hello, Elliot. Thanks for joining us. Do you got any questions?
Elliot's here. Quick, questions, lad. Before
yes,
it all
Elliot,
falls apart.
ask a question.
I've put him on the spot now.
Yes. now he's trying to rack his brain and come up with a decent one. It doesn't even have to be a decent question right now. I'll take just about anything.
Yep. I bought 4 pints of milk earlier. It was a good trip out.
Nice.
I've basically reached a point where I've gone back into making music again, which is a really weird departure, but that's the point it's reached at the moment with lack of shows.
Brendan's got one for us. What are your first go-tos when building a new show?
Yeah, that's a interesting question.
After patching, obviously my first go-to, and I'm one of the ones that likes having the pre-built palettes on. Are you a pre-built palettes guy, or are you a make your own and only your own kind of guy?
I hate pre-built palettes.
It's always you're either one or the other. You either absolutely hate it or you absolutely love it. And I'm gonna love it.
I don't hate it. It's pre-built palettes for me were always tricky because of some of the fixtures that I was working on when sort of Titan was starting to be a thing, and that was sort of the start of the system coming into play. And I didn't really have that sort of, because a lot of the fixtures I was using, the auto palettes would all be normal palettes. And so it would end up being like, I'd end up with 4 different types of fixture, but like 5,000 columns of color palettes for all the weird and wonderful color wheels that these slightly bizarre old fixtures from the 90s had. And it was like, that's a certain point, I'm just like, you know what? Nah.
Yeah. I say from
but
there,
I appreciate him.
I'd say from there, what I usually do is get my bass positions down like I've got in the show file that's up on screen now. You hit my lead singer, hit my guitars, hit my keyboards if they're there, hit my drum kit, and then some basic looks. And then I start making nested palettes of those looks. So, some are pointing at the lead singer, some are pointing at the guitars, yada, yada, so forth, to make, just get some blades for that, to make looks sort of combinations of them, to get different looks for the show. And then usually the other thing I'll do is the same thing I've got here in the show file, put my palette overlaps and fade time macros in one of my windows. I usually go positions. Sometimes I'll end up in gobos and beams if I don't have a whole lot of gobos for that particular fixtures that I have. I might toss them on this side. But then I can get, with the nice being able to just click that overlap in there and toss a fade time on it and change your look and get that overlap and fade just right there quickly without having to mess with it any.
Yeah, I follow a fairly similar principle to you, to be fair. One of the first things I will do is, especially if it's one of those big, a lot of the things I'm known for are those sort of big architectural, weird and wonderful sort of mad stages that take a million years to put together. So I'll spend a lot of time now getting those group layouts and those arrangements of fixtures, especially because I spend a lot of time on Synergy, getting that done and out of the way and having that really sorted out makes my life a lot easier. And then throwing in, really for the clubby stuff, really nice positions and just nice symmetrical big looks with your gobos and beams all set up as you do with your nested palettes and your fade times. And then I'll just start working from there. I'll build some keyframes, I'll build some macros, I'll get some particularly nice looks, get those masters in there. I've started to tend to have, depending on the console, some stop points or some full-on block cues to get some nice big sort of pause and hold looks before big drops come in, that sort of stuff. Just having things, it's kind of an old school busking way. I'm not one of those people who throws pallets using the touchscreen. I'm quite a group, get things I want, get it all ready to go and whack it in, which
Fair enough.
is a policy for life, but get yourself prepared, whack it in.
Yes. Yeah, I usually like that's why I like going and get all my pallets made up like that. So because I come from, I'm always the busking guy that if all else fails, just start grabbing stuff and throwing looks up and make it go and make it,
Absolutely.
make it a playlist or a cue list or whatever down the line. Right now, I got lights blinking and flashing at the worst.
Yeah.
Ryan says he hates the pre-builds, but that's from the 04 days. I say that I did not ever use them in Classic, but it is something I pretty much always use in Titan. Just, I'm going to make that red and that blue and that green already, so why not just let the console do it for me and save me 10 seconds? That's why, for me. It's just to save that 10
That's
seconds
true.
of time. Because I know
like
I'm
my
going to make them.
HS though. That's my other thing. You don't get that with the pre-build so much.
So what's that?
I like my nice HSI gradients.
Yeah.
Because I'm a symmetry color nerd and I like to have my nice blocks of all that weird stuff.
But I guess that answered it some there, Brendan. I know we're a little all over the map when we say things, but that's part of programming. I always say in training, there is no right or wrong way to program a console. There's my way, there's Sam's way, there's your way, there's Elliot's way, there's Brian's way. If Brian had to run one of my show files, he'd probably think I was a complete idiot, and if I had to run one of his, I'd be like, "What is this hack doing?" Because it's all you have your own
Shots
brain,
fired.
and you have your own brain, and that's how it works. But there's no right or wrong way to set up a console. It's whatever makes you happy.
It's very true, and it's very contextual. Like a rock and roll show for me is going to look like an entirely differently programmed show file from, a massive club show. It's an entirely different premise in the way that I will work because I'm not dealing with the same type of instrument. I'm not dealing with the same type of artist. It's a different environment. It's why I'm quite a big advocate for building fresh show files. It's not, I guess, as has become a kind of conventional way of people to do things, is have that one show file that goes around with them and does everything. I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah.
Be creative in the moment, and it keeps you fresh.
Yeah.
It means you don't forget where stuff is.
So Elliot asks, what features would you like to see on Titan in the future from your personal preference?
I like this question. I've just gone onto the ideas page.
Stuff that isn't in Titan or isn't coming in version 14 already. Ooh.
Yeah.
So I can't say what's already coming, because that would get me in trouble. And actually, if I try to go to look at the ideas section, it will actually crash OBS. So I don't know what it is. I go to the Avolites site and it crashes OBS every time.
Well, I'll stay on that
then. So,
let's have a look.
I'm kind of interested in Timeline. I know a lot of people are. I don't know how much I'd ever actually use it, but I'm interested in having the feature exist. I think.
I'm with you. Here's my gripe with Timeline. Okay, I can count.
True.
And I've always lived in. I used to do Excel stuff, and I used to do lots of data entry when I was working in sort of hardware and software support in more IT-based stuff. Timeline doesn't make sense to me. It works for me in video editing, which I do a bit of on the side of whatever I'm doing as a freelancer. It works for me in After Effects, but I don't feel like I necessarily need it, and I can completely see why so many people do. I think it would be an absolutely pinnacle feature for us to implement at some point in the future. But when I see people upset about it, I struggle to sort of make the connection, honestly.
Yeah, I said I don't know how much I'd actually use it in the shows that I typically tend to do, but I think I think it'll be interesting.
Oh, definitely. I time code a lot, and I've helped a lot of people time code big shows, and I completely get where that sort of way of working comes from and how that makes sense to a lot of people. It's that translation between sort of, if you've lived in busking world for forever, that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
As we've talked about previously, if you've just been time coding or working in that sort of almost spreadsheet way of working for a really, really long time, it's just a different medium.
Yeah. Other than that, what would I like to see? Let's see. What are the top ones that are on the ideas group that hasn't been implemented yet?
So the top ideas at the moment, well, the very top one is still custom lock screen.
I just don't think they're. I don't think they're editing them out any even after they've been implemented. I think they're leaving them on there.
That has definitely been done.
Yes.
So what have we got here? Kill or release playbacks when unused. Make it possible to automatically kill or release playbacks when they no longer control and any channels on the output.
We got that halfway with playback groups, but not quite the same as it works in some of the competitors' consoles.
Yeah, this feels like more of almost an automated process. Whereas, if it's not dealing with any LTP values, it kills that playback off.
Yeah, that one, I'm meh on that one for me personally.
Yeah, I can see why people would ask for it again, but I can, with the other features that Titan has built in, I'm not sure how practicable that could be.
Yeah.
I think there are enough ways of sort of doing that already in Titan.
True.
Because there are plenty. Multiple instances of the same window. I quite like that one.
Yeah, that would be a good one. Let's see here. Top. I guess we bring it up on my phone.
Jumping between machines.
Yeah. So the custom lock screen. Let's see here.
Ooh, exclude playback from Grandmaster.
That I can see why people want it. But it's never really bothered me personally. I just work around it or make group masters with everything except for that fixture. Or I just use freezes and stuff like that to get what I want, so it doesn't matter what the Grandmaster does. At least that's how I've always handled it. And it's worked well for me over the years. Because usually the only time I ever want to do it is usually not at a home venue. It's like at a traveling and their house lights are on the console, and I want them to they can, well, you can never do those below 5%. They got to say at least this, or we'll all lose our jobs. Like, I'll freeze that bad boy at 5% and call it a day. That way I can't screw up and get yelled at for it.
I like that approach. I like that approach a lot.
Just freeze it and walk on. Let's see here.
Oh, we actually have a question.
Yes, we do actually. I was going to get to him and see if we got finished with this one. If we had anything interesting that was on there. Yeah, that's kind of it for what we do for personal preference there. But there are some stuff coming in 14 that I can't talk about yet, but fills a few holes in my heart, and you guys will just have to see when it comes out.
Although I should say before we move on, if you haven't gone and voted for ideas on the ideas page, avolites.com/ideas. Go and have a look at that. For anyone who's new, anyone who hasn't seen it yet, go and have a look at that, because there might be something on there that you are desperately crying out for, and it has got not enough votes.
Yep. More votes it gets, the more the guys are going to pay attention to it, and the more likely it's to get added to the software.
Yep.
So Brennan asks, let me find it again. There it is. Building queues that will have both pulsing on and off and iris going from either large to small with match timing. How would you program that? Keyframe shape.
Yup.
Always keyframe shape. Anything I'm trying to make two attributes match up to each other. Keyframe shape, easy peasy. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Like, let's see here.
Barely an inconvenience.
Barely, super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Let's see here. Let me drop what I've got going on this console here. And then if I was to, I shall do shapes and effects, keyframe shape, create. And let's see here. I just got to select some pictures for it to work with there. We'll clear that out. Start that over. Select your BMFLs. Clear. There we are. Shapes and effects. Keyframe shape. Create. And we'll go ahead and do our intensity at full. And our, iris at, we'll leave it at full 2. Then we'll add frame. And we'll do our iris at 0. Whoops. Scroll. And then take our intensity and put it at 0. Add frame. And then finish recording frames. And then we'll see here, we'll put it up capture also so you can actually see it. So then if I just simply put on a spread of, we'll do 10. And we see we've got that perfectly coming up and down. And if we want to change it to, I actually should have done each attribute on its own frame. So actually, let me redo that because I'm not happy with that now. Isn't that always the way?
Layers upon layers.
Isn't that always the way you do it once? You're like,
yes.
I don't like that now. So let's see, keyframe shape, create. And so do intensity at full, add frame, intensity at 0, add frame, finish recording frames, add a layer. Then we'll go to beam attribute, iris at full, add frame, iris at 0, add frame, finish recording frames. There we go. That's a little bit better. So now we set our spread to something like 10. And we take our dimmer, and instead of having it be a nice curve, we'll put a nice little snap on that bad boy. And there you get something like that. And then we can sit there, we can muck about with our overlaps and our spreads and get all kinds of different looks from it fairly quickly. So I hope that answers it for you, Brennan. How do you think of that? But yeah, I would do it definitely with the keyframe shape. And I'm trying to get 2 different attributes to match up perfectly with timing. Keyframe shape, easy peasy, perfect every time.
Nice. There we go. Now I can see it.
Took a minute to get to you.
Yeah.
Oh, gotta love delays. Johan, sorry, asks, can you exclude an executor from a scene master preset? I want some executors not to follow the screen preset, but will always react immediately.
As far as I know, I'm not sure the answer to that is yes.
Yeah, you can't exclude anything from a scene master. From a scene master preset.
I'm assuming he means preset mode.
Well, when you're in if you don't change them any, they're going to. Or do you mean to override the screen master? Or the screen is scene master? Yeah, you can't override scene master. Even with priority, it is what it is. So that would be a good idea and feature to ask for is priority given to scene master, so you could have its priority be above scene master, so that it would no matter what the scene master is doing, you can turn them on or off without the scene master. That would be a good idea and feature. So like we were just saying there, Johan, on the ideas and features, hop on there and put in a new one of priorities for scene master. So you could put something with a higher priority than scene master, just like you can for programmer, and that it would be stronger than the scene master, or be able to give your scene master a low priority, a medium priority, whatever, then have something above or below it and go from there.
I like that.
That could actually be really handy now thinking about it. But I would do that with my blinders. I don't know how many times I've been using Scene Master to fade out a scene or get something great, really cool looking going, and then I go to flash my blinders and nothing happens.
Yep.
And then I look at my visualizer and they're flashing away happily. And it's like, it's still stuck in Scene Master. Yes, that would be that would be a great one. If you put that on there, Johan, I will upvote it in half a second. Just let me know you've done it. Because I am all about that one. Because I don't know how many times that got me out. And more than I care to admit, let's put it that way.
I'm 100% behind you on that one. That's 2 votes immediately. I feel like Gordon might even follow along with that one. I won't speak for him, but I can see him enjoying that.
Yeah, that would be super handy.
Nice.
Alberta says yes, that's exactly what he was
like,
looking for. So yeah, keyframe shapes are your friend. If you want to learn, since it seems like you're relatively new, catch those keyframe videos. I've got one up on the Avolites YouTube. There's one on Avolites USA YouTube, and we'll probably make even more as I go through and make my feature focus videos. I'll probably do one on keyframe shapes at some point in time as I work my way through the console. Trying to make all new videos that are done in my style, which you either love or hate.
His own Marmite.
I'm me. So, hey.
It's nice to see another ETC user coming and having a look at what Avo can offer. It's a few I've sort of had a chat to during the lockdown period who have sort of been in that area and have been interested in trying something new. And there's a lot that I think Avolites can offer you. I think if you are interested, go and have a look on Kay's YouTube channel and on the official UK YouTube channel. Go and have a look at the cue lists. Go and have a look at the effects engines. Go and have a look at the syntax ways of doing things. Some of the advanced syntax will really speak to you. I know Cade hates it, but I love timing syntax. And that is, again, one of those things that if you have come from that semi-command line-esque ETC background and the way that works, the syntax that is freely available in Avo, it's never been, it's not a hidden thing, it's just another way of working. That will really speak to your style of programming if you've been working in cue lists. And there's so many things like tracking and moving dark and effect tracking, all of that available to you really, really easily if you just go and have a quick look through some of the videos that Gordon has made, some of the videos Cade has made. I think there will be a lot that you encounter that you will really enjoy and that might make your life a little bit easier. Coming from that world and touring through lots and lots of ETC venues and dealing with, a few techs who have been in that environment for so long and have always been sort of curious about what I've brought in. They've always come and had a play. And I think there's now 3 or 4 places I've been to regularly that are now looking at investing into the Titan side of things. And they're pretty solid theatrical stuff throughout the year, which is testament to what Titan can sort of deliver on the versatility end.
Yeah. And the added bonus is that every time I touch it, it doesn't break. There is that too. There was a venue that I've done maintenance for here in the past, the little theater in northern Colorado that I'd come up and do other mover maintenance. And anytime I would touch their ion, it would break. I got to the point where I wouldn't even take the DMX cable out of it to plug into my Titan 1 to do the testing anymore. I was like, someone else unplug that and hand it to me, please. Thank you. Because every time I touched it, it had something go wonky with it. So I'm like, I just don't touch it anymore. I don't know how I managed to break it, but
you've cursed it.
Yes, I just don't touch it, and I think it's more happy that way, and I think we're all happy that way. So
I've had that with ETC nodes. I haven't had that with ETC consoles, which was a bit of an odd one.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. It would just do something weird every time, and
dynamite fingers.
Yeah, yep. But
which is coincidentally Cade's first pickup line.
Anyhow, moving right along. It's getting late on the Friday afternoon, isn't it? And with that one, so we're coming up near our hour mark, and we try to keep these around an hour in length. But if you guys have any more questions, shoot them to us real quick, and we'll get them answered before we bounce out here.
Otherwise, on that terrible disappointment for any bar Cade walks into.
Yes.
I tell you what, I miss doing shows. I miss seeing so many people's faces. It is genuinely getting to a point where I'm like, I just want to see another human being.
Yeah.
I want to see another human being. I want to be in a filthy, grimy, understage, crawling around, doing something that is productive and not staring at a wall.
Yeah, I'd like to get out there and pushing buttons and make some lights blink and wiggle and Blink, Wiggle, and Flash. That's what we do, and just get the heck. I'd even take someone telling me how crappy I was today.
Oh, totally.
Well, those lights suck. I'm like, thanks, dude.
Dude, you're awful. Yeah, I know, but I'm still here.
Exactly. Like, I got to run lights. How cool is that?
This is the greatest day of 2020.
Exactly.
Like Elliot's saying just up in the comments. So I made that video where I literally spent a day time coding my entire existence. That's how bored I got. I've now light mapped with Synergy my gaming setup.
Yes, I saw that.
So that my TV gaming, whatever I play, is now light mapped around my house. It's reached a point where that's the sort of thing that I'm doing to keep myself entertained. If it's reached that point, something needs to give, and it's either going to be my sanity or the rest of the world. It's one of those two.
Yeah, see, and I can't really time code my life because everything I do is Siri. I did all the voice controls for the house here, so rather than going ArtNet or streaming ACN for the house, I went Siri. So I just yell at somebody to do what I want. Turn the lights on, turn the lights off. I just yell.
She doesn't yell back either.
No, yeah, usually not. Sometimes she's like, I didn't understand. Like, really? Come on.
Oh, Brian, I feel you there, my friend.
Yes, not doing something until 2021 is going to. I mean, it's just I can't go out and do I can't do any training sessions. I only did one training session this year. One.
Yeah, I think I did 2, and then all of them after. And then I went to Chile to deal with some support stuff, and then the moment I got back was a week before all the lockdown kicked in.
Yeah,
which was just horrible.
Yeah, I did one in Minneapolis. It was the last week of January, something like that. Last week of January, first week of February, something like that. And it was actually a one-on-one, so that was kind of nice that it was a small one, and it was like, oh, nice small one to get the year started off with, not and end the year with. Like, oh, if I'd known that was the only one I do this year, I might have done a better job of it. I mean,
oh,
worst part is I gave her all the training. She was a pretty good LD. She seemed to pick up everything pretty quickly. She was coming from Hog. And she seemed to be picking up everything pretty well. But then it sucks. I know she's maybe got in 2 or 3 shows before the world went south on us. So it's like all that training almost a waste because, I don't want to say it's not like riding a bike, it's like riding a bike in a sense you don't really forget, but sometimes without a lot of practice, you start losing things,
Yeah, I've been at that point like recently where I've not even wanted to look at Titan. I've not even wanted to look at programming because it's just going to make me more sad.
Yeah. Brian's asked, is there any way to do a remote training session, a Zoom Academy, a KV thing? I've thought about doing that. The main problem is that then you're dealing with someone else's equipment and you're not there. If they've got a computer that's acting wacky or stuff like that, that's the only thing I worry about being a problem there. So I hadn't really pushed to find a better way to do it. But if you're not that you need to, I don't know if there's much I can teach you there, Brian. But if you ever do want something like that, you can contact me directly and we'll do it. I don't know how much I can teach you. I mean, I know you're relatively well versed there, but we can always do something like that. What
Brian's suggesting there is that he wants to start teaching you, mate. That's what it is.
I could probably use a couple lessons. Well, I've seen his shows, and I've seen my shows, and I know who can teach who. Let's put it that way.
Brian's sitting there like, you can't teach skill.
This is true. You cannot. You either have it or you don't. It's not something that can be taught. I can teach you how to run. I've said it. I can teach you how to program it. I can't teach you what to program.
Yeah. I think that's a big misconception with some of the stuff that we do teach.
Yeah. I'm just teaching you how to make it happen, not what to make happen. That's all on you,
Everyone's brain is uniquely weird, and that's what makes life fun.
Yeah. So we'll clear the console here, and we'll when this actually gets all the way through, if you guys don't give us another question, another minute or so, we're going to go ahead and call this one a fun day. If you want Titan 10.1 tips, I'm your guy.
Yes.
Well, okay, fair.
And on that bombshell,
Yes, and on that bombshell.
I think that is the perfect time to wrap up.
Pretty much. Well, I do thank the few of you that we had on here today. We'll see when we'll do another one next. We might let you guys make a little longer in between to get you guys to build up a few more queries before we do it again. But be able to get lucky by the time we go to do one of these again, we're all actually out doing shows instead, and we can't do them on a Friday. So
wouldn't that be such a wonderful experience?
And it'd be a wonderful problem to have.
I will be posting in the group naked on top of a venue, screaming with joy, and everyone will block me for the rest of the week.
Yes.
Okay, I guess with that.
Yes. Yeah, definitely, Ryan. He's got to find his way and don't do it your way for sure. So, yes, with that, gentlemen, we'll go ahead and hopefully any ladies we have out there, I should make sure I include you. Thanks for joining us. Catch us next time. This will get put up on the Avolites USA YouTube if you need to go back and rewatch for anything that we did to see how we did it. So Brendan there, if he gets lost in how I did that exact keyframe, you can go back and watch it on there. It'll be up relatively shortly. And as I said, we'll see when we do the next one. Thanks to Gordon out there in the land doing his things, and thanks to you for joining us again, Mr. Sam.
Absolute pleasure as always.
We have entirely too much fun on these every time. Eventually someone's going to make us stop doing it. We're having too much fun.
I hope not. It's the only thing that keeps my week going.
And so with that, gentlemen, everybody, we'll catch you next time. Thanks. Bye.
Good night.
Wheel stop. Roger, wheel stop, Discovery. Welcome back. A great ending to the new beginning.